Bianca Woods, and today's Toolbox Tip is all about color choice. Now, color can do a lot to set the tone of your project, guide the eye, even make your content easier to understand. Not only that, but color can do a lot to determine if your project is accessible or not. So, pretty important part of design. That said, I am sure all of us have seen designs where the color choices went a little bit sideways, making the project boring or chaotic or inaccessible. And that's not what any of us ever want. That said, there is no shame in finding the whole picking effective colors thing a bit overwhelming. I mean, I have an art background, and sometimes it trips me up. It happens. I'm glad to tell you, though, that you don't have to tackle this challenge alone. Today, we're going to talk about 3 fantastic tools that can make choosing effective colors so much easier. And not only that, they also all happen to be free. A color palette is a small selection of colors that ideally all look good together. And using a great color palette consistently throughout your project is one of the easiest ways to make sure that the end result doesn't look like a busy eyesore. But if you're not comfortable putting together color palettes on your own, or maybe you are, but today you're feeling a little stumped, go to the Colors website. Here you can just click your spacebar to randomly generate new color palettes. And if you generate a palette with some colors you like and some you don't, you can actually lock the colors you like and then keep randomly generating to replace the colors you didn't. Not into that whole chance aspect? Not to worry. This website also has a huge library of pre-created color palettes that you can browse through for ideas. Another reason I really like this site is an accessibility feature, because it actually has a way to preview your color palette to see how it might be perceived by people with different types of color blindness. So it's a really great way to assess if the colors you picked and the way you intend to use them might inadvertently be confusing for some of your audience. When I'm looking for color inspiration, I'm looking for it everywhere. Photos, ads, websites, Pinterest pins, videos. Like I said, I'm looking everywhere. Now, if you're doing the same thing and you see a color you like, sure, you could go back to your development tool of choice and just kind of guess roughly at what color it is. But you don't have to, because instead you can go and download the ColorZilla browser plugin. Just click the eyedropper icon and then select any color on your screen. And yes, that's whether it's in your browser or not. Click the right spot and the plugin is going to give you the specific color information for the section of the screen you picked. And then you can take that information and put it into any development tool of your choice. Finally, let's talk color contrast. Because one of the simplest ways to make your projects more accessible is to make sure there's enough color contrast between your text and your background. And really enough color contrast between any point where you've got 2 colors up against each other. Color contrast is essentially the difference in brightness between 2 colors. And I'm happy to tell you that you do not have to figure out how to assess color contrast by eye alone. Instead, you can take advantage of the multitude of free color contrast checker tools that are out there right now. One that I'm really liking a lot lately is the Color Contrast Checker tool website. And I like it for a number of different reasons. It'll show you a preview of your colors with both normal text, large text, and icons. And that's handy because 1, I love a good preview, and 2, the accessibility guidelines around each of those are slightly different. It's got a nice clean layout, that is always a plus in my book. It'll give you advice on the current best practice standards for color contrast, and some advice using a new approach that's recently been proposed. And if you have one of those crummy situations where the colors you picked don't have enough contrast, the site's going to do you a solid, and it'll actually propose some similar alternative colors that'll work instead. So that makes troubleshooting color contrast problems so much faster. So there you have it, 3 free tools that make it so much easier to work with color.